Okay, so welcome to this session where we are starting our discussions on lower limb. Lower limb, also called as inferior extremity, and also called as infex in short form because we don't say inferior extremity, so infex. Normally, a lay person typically indicates the entire lower limb as leg, but the lower limb has a upper thigh. Then there is, of course, hip joint here, and then there is thigh. So there is front of thigh, there will be back of thigh, then there will be medial compartment. So there will be three compartments in the thigh: front, back, and medial. Medial compartment muscles will be adductors. They will adduct the two limbs. Okay, so if my other limb is here and this, so the medial side muscles will cause adduction. This anterior group of muscles, they will cause extension of the knee, right? The extension of the knee while kicking, because these muscles will be going like this down and crossing the patella and lower limb. So when they contract, they will cause extension. So suppose this is my knee joint, this is my thigh, this is my leg. So leg is this portion. So here is knee, and the below knee part is called as leg up to the ankle. So here is the ankle. Okay, ankle, and then this is the foot. Okay, the foot is this, ankle, this is leg. So in leg also, major portion on the medial side, this is the medial side. Medial side is subcutaneous. This is the place where we the kick, somebody kicks us, we get hit over here. On this side there are muscles which are extensors. So in upper limb, what happens is, in upper limb, on the anterior side are flexors, on posterior side are extensors. While in case of lower limbs, the in embryonic life, the upper limbs turn like this. Both limbs were initially like this. Upper limbs turn like this. So flexors are always on the anterior aspect of upper. While lower limb, they rotate like this during development. So because they rotate like this, their extensors are in the front. So now, if you consider this part as thigh, this as knee joint, this as leg. So all these muscles on the anterior part of the thigh, they will cause extension of the knee, as in kicking. So if this is my knee, these muscles which cross the knee and get attached here, so when they contract, they will cause it. While these muscles on the posterior side of the thigh, they will cause flexion of the knee. They will cause flexion of the knee. Okay, so this I am giving an example of the lower limb. Medial side muscles, so these are the two lower limbs. If these are the two lower limbs, the medial group of muscles is called adduction. So they are adductors. Posterior group will cause flexors. So these are called as hamstring. So on the back of the thigh are a group of muscles called as hamstring muscles. Those who eat non-vegetarian food, they these muscles are very bulky muscles, and that's how people try to eat the leg of a chicken, and they call it a hamburger. It hamburger word comes from the word hamstrings. These are the hamstring muscles which people are unfortunately trying to eat. Front of the thigh, so hamstring muscles will be flexors of the knee, flexors of the knee, extensors of the hip. Thigh muscles will be extensors of the knee. All these muscles which we are about to study are the extensors of the knee, while medial group of muscles will be the adductor compartment. So right now we are just concentrating on the front of thigh. Okay, in the next session, we will study the medial compartment of thigh, and then we will move to the back of thigh. Now, in front of thigh, right now I'm just drawing one side, the right sided leg. And the reason I have drawn it like this is the lateral side and this is the mid. On the hips, on our top of our hips, we feel the iliac crest actually. And iliac crest, there is a point here called anterior superior iliac spine. On the lateral most, if we put our hands on the hip, which we classically do when we are standing like a hero, we put our hands on our top of our hips, and there we feel a bone, that is the iliac crest. And if we track it anteriorly and come, so iliac crests are on the side like this, on our both sides. On both sides, the iliac crests are like this, and then we come to a point called as anterior superior iliac spine. Anterior superior. This anterior superior iliac spine, from there and on this medial aspect over here, here is a tubercle called as pubic tubercle. Pubic tubercle. So running from anterior superior iliac spine to pubic tubercle is a ligament called as inguinal ligament. This area is also called inguinal area. The area of the groin, okay, is inguinal. And the reason I took so much pains to explain to all of you this inguinal ligament is that this is the one which separates the abdomen above from the lower. So below the inguinal ligament, the lower limb actually officially starts. So this is inguinal ligament is like a LOC which is in the groin. It runs from anterior superior iliac spine of the hip bone, anterior superior iliac spine of the hip bone, and goes up to the pubic tubercle. Okay. Now initially, uh, one muscle actually divides this front of thigh into upper and lower part. There are 4 muscles above and 4 muscles below, but we don't reach up to the muscles initially. Initially, when we remove the skin, we come across superficial fascia. So there is all superficial fascia, and in this, below that is deep fascia, and the deep fascia of the lower limb is so thick like a sleeve. Okay, it is thick, very thick and fibrous, and it is called as fascia lata. Fascia lata. And in this deep fascia, we see a opening. We see a opening called as saphenous opening. Saphenous opening. And then in the superficial fascia, we see some structures. And there is a vein going and dipping in to the saphenous opening. And that is called as saphenous vein. Saphenous means easily seen. Saphenous means very easily seen. So these are the superficial veins. So in lower limb, there are deep veins which are there in the deep to the muscles. And then there are superficial veins like saphenous vein and other. When the deep veins get blocked due to prolonged standing, the superficial veins are not able to drain into the, they are not able to drain into the deep veins. And that leads to the dilatation of the superficial veins, and that pathology pathology is called as varicose veins. So now, opening into this saphenous vein, are three other veins. 1, 2, and 3. These three veins have a name. Superficial, external, pudendal vein. Pudendal refers to the genitals. So this vein comes from the genitals. Superficial, external, pudendal vein. Then superficial epigastric vein and superficial circumflex iliac vein. Okay. So these are the first things which we see inside these things which we see when we remove the skin. In the superficial fascia, they are located. Also in the superficial fascia, we see superficial inguinal lymph nodes. And they are T-shaped. There is a lateral group, there is a medial group, lateral group, and vertical. The vertical group will drain the lower limb. Medial group will drain the genitals, except the glans penis. It will drain the lower anal canal, while this lateral group will drain from the slightly from the posterior. Okay. Along with all these veins, we see also the arteries. There will be same artery: superficial external pudendal artery, superficial epigastric artery, superficial circumflex iliac artery. Okay. Then lower down here, below the line of the sartorius, we see three nerves: the medial, intermediate, and lateral cutaneous nerve of medial, intermediate, and lateral cutaneous nerve. So they take care of the cutaneous supply. They take care of the cutaneous supply. So these are the things which we see in the superficial fascia. The veins, saphenous vein, its three tributaries, the three arteries of the same name, superficial inguinal lymph nodes, medial group, lateral group, vertical group, and nerves, medial, intermediate, and lateral cutaneous nerve of eye. So now we move on to another important area. Now we will see what are the structures which we come across after we remove the deep fascia. And moment we remove the deep fascia, below the deep fascia, we see what is called as femoral triangle. Now this is again a right side lower limb, and this is the anterior superior iliac spine. This is the inguinal ligament going up to the pubic tubercle. So this is A, anterior superior iliac spine, ASS, and pubic tubercle. And this is the sartorius. So in this region, there is one more muscle called as adductor longus muscle. Adductor longus. Now this medial border of the adductor longus, this is the medial side, this is the lateral side, this is the superior side, this is the inferior side. This medial border of the adductor longus, the medial border of sartorius and inguinal ligament. Together, they are forming a triangle called as femoral triangle. Femoral. So let us discuss the boundaries of femoral triangle. The boundaries of the femoral triangle are formed by medially by medial border of adductor longus. Laterally by medial border of this muscle called as sartorius. Sartorius. And superiorly, the upper part. Superiorly, it is formed by inguinal ligament. Inguinal ligament. So, in short, these are the three boundaries forming the femoral triangle. There are few other muscles in this region. The next muscle is pectineus. Next muscle is a very short muscle, that is the tendon of psoas major. P is silent. Psoas major. And iliacus. So as I told you before, there are four muscles above the sartorius. Total, there are 9 muscles in the front of thigh. 4 muscles are above the sartorius, 4 muscles are below the sartorius. So the names above the sartorius are adductor longus. As the name suggests, its action will be adduction. So it will cause adduction of the legs. Pectineus is the second muscle. Psoas major and iliacus. They are the muscles which actually flex the hip joint. So when they contract, they will be attached to the femur, which is below the thigh. They will pull the upper limb and cause flexion at the hip joint. This will cause adduction at the hip joint. Okay. So now these are the structures, these 4 muscles, these are the structures which are forming what is called as the floor of the femoral triangle. The floor of the femoral triangle is formed by from medial to lateral side, by adductor longus, pectineus, psoas major, and iliacus. Adductor longus, pectineus, psoas major, and iliacus. So these are the structures which are forming floor of this triangle. Then what are the structures forming the roof of this triangle? The roof of this triangle is formed by skin, because all that structures which we removed, then it was superficial fascia. And what did the superficial fascia contain? It contained superficial inguinal lymph nodes. It contained femoral branch of genitofemoral nerve. Genitofemoral nerve, you are hearing it for the first time. Branches of the ilioinguinal nerve. This also name you are hearing for the first time, ilioinguinal nerve. And superficial branches of facial femoral artery that you have already studied, those 6 branches. superficial epigastric, superficial external pudendal, superficial iliac, and then the great saphenous vein that you have already studied, great saphenous vein. So these all will be in the roof of the femoral triangle. So in this diagram. So whatever is seen in this diagram, I have not only things I have not shown is the two nerves. The ilioinguinal nerve will be here, and ilioinguinal nerve will be here, and femoral branch of genitofemoral nerve will be here. So these structures are the things which were in the roof of the triangle. So we removed this structure and then we saw the floor of the triangle. Now in between roof and floor are the contents of the triangle, which are very important. So after removing the contents, I see the floor very clearly. So this is the structure showing boundaries also, three boundaries. So whenever this femoral triangle is asked in the exam, you have to write it is located in the front of the thigh. These are the three boundaries: inguinal ligament, medial border of adductor longus, and sartorius. Superficial in the roof are the skin, superficial fascia containing saphenous vein, its tributaries, femoral branches of femoral arteries, the superficial inguinal lymph nodes, genital branch of the femoral branch of the genitofemoral nerve, okay, and the ilioinguinal nerve over here. So that's about the roof, floor, boundaries of the femoral triangle. Now moving to the contents of the femoral. Very easy. Like when we studied the axilla, we said the contents of the axilla is axillary artery, axillary vein, axillary lymph node, axillary pad of fat. So here we have three contents, mainly three contents: femoral artery and its branches, femoral vein, femoral vein, femoral canal. Now this we'll discuss what is femoral canal. Okay, femoral vein and its tributary. Now imagine we have in our front of thigh, after just removing the skin and the deep fascia, we have a femoral artery over here and femoral vein by the side. So whenever we want to do blood gas analysis, of course, the fourth content is the femoral nerve. Okay, the femoral nerve is also one of the contents, and then there will be nerve to pectineus. These are the important things. The other things are nerve to pectineus. There is the femoral branch of the genitofemoral nerve, femoral branch of the genitofemoral nerve. There is lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh, and there are deep inguinal lymph nodes. So superficial inguinal lymph nodes are in the roof, and deep inguinal lymph node is the contents. These are the total contents, okay, of the femoral triangle. Contents of the femoral triangle. So in this triangle, femoral artery will be there, femoral vein, femoral canal, femoral nerve, nerve to pectineus, femoral branch of genitofemoral nerve, lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh, and deep inguinal lymph. Okay. So before we study the femoral artery, we have to understand one thing is suppose this is the femoral artery, and next to the femoral artery is femoral vein, which I'm drawing it blue. So this artery and vein, they get covered, they are covered by a sheet, which is called as femoral sheath. which is femoral sheath. And in this femoral sheath, there are three compartments. In the intermediate compartment is the femoral vein. In the lateral compartment is femoral artery. And medial compartment, there is nothing. And that's the problem. There is nothing in that, and that is called as femoral canal, which is larger in female due to the larger size of the pelvis. And this can lead to herniation of contents, because here there is artery, here there is vein, and in this part there is nothing. So if I take a section and see, this is how I see it in a section. This is how things look in a section. I'm looking from below. I've cut a leg looking from below, and I see a femoral vein in the intermediate compartment, and I see femoral artery in the lateral compartment, and just a small lymph node here, and this is the femoral canal. So hernia, because it is an empty space, so any abdominal pressure will push abdominal fat or something to come out, as that condition is called as femoral hernia. Okay, this femoral sheath, and the femoral nerve doesn't lie in the sheath, it is still lateral. So in the contents, most medial is femoral canal, then is femoral vein, then is femoral artery. All these three things are in the femoral sheath, and outside the femoral sheath laterally is the femoral Now this femoral sheath is this is the iliacus muscle, and the femoral artery actually runs on this iliacus and enters the thigh. So this is fascia iliaca, which is covering the iliacus, which forms the posterior part of the femoral sheath, and this is fascia transversalis. This nerve name you are hearing for the first time, fascia transversalis. So it forms the anterior part of the femoral sheath and fascia iliaca. Together they cover the artery, vein, and they, instead of covering two, they just go little excess, and therefore an empty compartment remains, and that is the canal. Another important use of femoral artery is we have an artery which just femoral triangle. Normally arteries are very deep. We have access to very few arteries in our body. One is radial artery and second is this femoral artery. And it is through these two arteries, that the catheter is put inside for angiography and angioplasty. It is through this artery we get the blood, arterial blood. Normally the blood which is withdrawn is the venous blood, but sometimes we need arterial blood to check the status of gases in the artery. So for blood gas analysis, we can take blood from the femoral artery. So this is the femoral canal. So with that background, now we start studying the femoral artery. Like axillary artery was the main artery supplying the upper limb, femoral artery is the main artery supplying the lower limb. This femoral artery is continuation of external iliac artery. See, this is the abdominal aorta. Aorta comes down, becomes thoracic arch of aorta, abdominal aorta, Then abdominal aorta divides into two main branches called as common iliac arteries. Common iliac arteries. The two common iliacs then divide into internal iliac, which supplies the pelvis. So these are the two internal iliac arteries. They will go to the pelvis, and two external iliac arteries. These external iliac arteries when they cross the inguinal ligaments on both the sides, they become femoral arteries. So same artery, like subclavian artery, crosses the outer border of the first rib and is now called axillary artery. External iliac artery, when it crosses the inguinal ligament, it is called as femoral artery. Okay. What are the relations of the femoral artery? On the medial side, there is femoral vein. Okay. Medial side, there is femoral vein on both the legs. On the lateral side, there is femoral nerve. These are the relations. What is there anteriorly? Anteriorly, there is skin, superficial fascia, right? Deep fascia. Basically, the structures forming the roof of the femoral. What is there posteriorly? It lies on the psoas major muscle. Lies on the psoas major muscle. Then it lies on pectineus. Then it lies on adductor longus. Okay. It lies in the femoral sheath. It is covered in the femoral sheath. And it has total 7 branches, out of which 6 branches are given in the femoral triangle. And 1 branch is given in adductor canal. One branch is given in adductor canal. Where the femoral triangle ends, the adductor canal starts, which we'll be discussing in our next session. So amongst the 6 branches in the femoral triangle, 3 are superficial and 3 are deep. 3 superficial we have already studied, right? We have already studied the 3 superficial. The superficial external pudendal artery, superficial epigastric artery, and superficial circumflex iliac artery. Okay. Now coming to the deep branches. So coming to the deep branches. The deep branches are 3. Profunda femoris artery. Profunda means deep. Profunda femoris artery. Then here we have superficial external pudendal. Then there is a deep external pudendal. This also supplies the genitals, deep external pudendal artery. And then there are muscular branches. Then there are muscular branches. Okay. The profunda femoris artery is one of the largest branches. Rather, when the femoral artery, goes down like this, it gives this profunda femoris. And this profunda femoris, so this is femoral artery. This is profunda femoris artery. it supplies the muscles of the hamstring compartment. It goes back and supplies the hamstring compartment. But before that, it gives two branches, medial and lateral circumflex femoral artery. So that will remind you in upper limb, you study medial and lateral, anterior and posterior circumflex humeral artery. And now here we are studying medial and lateral circumflex femoral artery. Okay. So medial and lateral circumflex femoral artery. In upper limb, there is anterior and posterior circumflex humeral artery going around the humerus. These are going around the femur. And then the profunda femoris goes down and it gives perforating branches, further gives perforating branches. We'll study this in the back of thigh. So it goes to the back of thigh. So profunda femoris, one of the largest arteries. Now coming to the applied anatomy. Applied anatomy of the femoral. You know, it is this femoral artery can be compressed at the mid-inguinal point. At the mid-inguinal point, which is between pubic symphysis and anterior posterior capsule, against the head of the femur. So this artery is compressed against the head of femur. So this comes a very handy information for all of you. You are on the street and somebody is bleeding from the lower limb. So just compress in the at the mid-inguinal point between anterior superior iliac spine and pubic symphysis, and the femoral artery is compressed and the blood loss is reduced. We can feel the pulsations also of the femoral artery in at this area, and therefore these pulsations become weak in case of there is blockage in the aorta. So if you feel the pulse of the upper limb, it becomes very pulsatile, and if there is a blockage in the lower part of the aorta, the lower limb pulsations will be weak. Okay. Then in the, if somebody is stabbed and in this area there is a stab wound in the area of femoral triangle, the femoral artery may be damaged. Okay, so one has to be very careful. One has to think about this, that there can be damage to the femoral artery. Okay, and it is very easily exposed for passing cannula. Okay, it is used for passing a cannula for the angiography and angioplasty. Okay, so that's all about the femoral artery.